From regular expenses to occasional splurges, there's a lot to buy. Why not get cash back every time you spend? With a PenFed Power Cash Rewards card, you get cash back on every purchase. That's everywhere, every time you use it. You can even earn a $100 statement credit when you spend $1,500 in the first 90 days. Visit PenFed.org/PowerCash to apply. To receive any advertised product, you must become a member of PenFed, insured by NCUA.
The Cricket Badger Podcast IPL Daily, in association with Moonrise Cricket, Indian Premier League 2020 13th edition. Every day, every game, every spill, every thrill, every triumph, all the way to the IPL trophy.
Hello everybody, welcome along. It's another edition of the Cricket Badger IPL Daily Podcast, and we've just seen another terrific game. This competition that keeps on giving us glorious matches all the way through the last few weeks. Today was no different. It was quite close until the very end, and the result of it has made the IPL table look rather tantalising as well. We'll get into that in just a second. Before we get into the podcast though, thank you very much to Bodyline, TShirts.com and moonrisecricket.co.uk for their support of our IPL Daily Podcast. I'm James, and I'm joined, as with yesterday, by Abhishek and Bohare, and we've also got Daniel Kelly on the line. We'll start with you, Dan. Interesting game today. CSK were starting to look a little bit perilous in the table, but it was an important win for them today, wasn't it?
Was a very important win. They're not dead and buried yet. I think they've got a good chance of having a run in the second half of the tournament and see how far that takes them. I think they look like a good side today. There's been times where I've thought they've absolutely no hope in this year's tournament, but I think they look like a well-rounded side today. I didn't at any point, to be honest, really think Sunrisers were in that chase. And I think, good sign for Dhoni and the boys.
Well, Chennai Super Kings batting first today, made 167 for 6, and Sunrisers falling 20 runs short to give CSK the points. And Abhishek, we were talking last night about the changes in pitches and how important it is to bat first. MSD won the toss today, decided to bat first, and obviously that bore dividends, didn't it? It seems to be the way to go in this tournament now, too. If you can, bat first in the games.
Yeah, absolutely. I think today's strategy of CSK was bang on point. They knew the pitches are going to be slow. And most importantly, they won the toss. They got the chance to bat first for the first time in the tournament. And not only that, you could see the intent even from Raidu, MSD, and even in the end, Jadeja. So you could see that intent, and they knew that probably a score of 160, 170 would be par here. They were not trying to be too conservative. No, they were trying to focus for a 181 or 190 score. I believe they have got that blueprint, and which more and more pitches slow, the players like Jadeja and players like Karan Sharma and Piyush Chawla will more often than not start to be the game changers, and that is what something I believe that they choked the batting team of Warner and Bairstow, and most of the game was won there.
They threw a bit of a curveball in at the top of the order with Sam Curran opening the innings. He got 31 from 21, Abhishek, and 3 fours, 2 sixes for the Englishman. He's kind of become the new Sunil Narine for them, hasn't he, in terms of almost pinch hitting at the start of the CSK innings?
Yeah, absolutely. I think his contribution was massive in that total. It also gave that belief that CSK were very much guilty of having that extremely slow start. Probably they have the worst power play record in this year's IPL. And this, I believe, in a pretty bad campaign that CSK has had so far, I believe he is the biggest shining light. I think he is someone that CSK can probably groom on and probably make the new core team, the old core team of MS Dhoni, Raina, Bravo. It's time for them to move on. I believe Sam Curran is one of those new core players, and I think he was massive today, no doubt.
Dan, you're looking at the table now. We've got Mumbai, Delhi Capitals and RCB on 10 points after 7 games. KKR on 8 points after 7 games. Then 2 teams who have played 8 games, the 2 teams today, are both on 6 points. Rajasthan Royals on 6 as well, and Kings 11 a little bit adrift now on 2 points there. But you can make a case of for 7 out of the 8 now, can't you, of certainly having valid playoff hopes?
You can indeed. It's a tournament, it's a bit of a cliche, but it's going to be a tournament of 2 halves. I think the form that we saw in the first half of the tournament kind of doesn't really mean that much anymore. The pitches have changed so much. It's a different ball game. And this is just at this stage. Imagine how they're going to go towards the tail end of the group stage. I think they're all well equipped, to be honest. Obviously, they're going to be well equipped in the spin department. But I think Sunrisers. I fancied Sunrisers at the start, and they did start very well. But I think they all of a sudden look probably the weakest of the bunch. Obviously, like you said, Kings 11 are sort of out of the picture a little bit. It'd be a miracle if they could get anywhere from here, which is disappointing because I fancied them at the start of the tournament, like I said. But yeah, I think RCB team to watch, and obviously Delhi, my boys at Delhi. I think they're going to look good if they can get over the injury troubles. And Mumbai are going to be hard to stop now. I think they're my tip probably to finish top of the group stage. But yes, it's up for grabs. It's anyone's game, really. I think the top three, Mumbai, Delhi and RCB, will probably qualify. And I think we're going to have a mad shootout for that fourth spot. I think it's going to be great up there to see the games towards the tail end, definitely.
The beauty of the competition so far, Abhishek, and I don't see it changing as we go through the rest of the group stage, is that anybody can beat anybody, can't they? So it's not done and dusted. There's nobody you can actually... You probably can't even look at Mumbai or Delhi or RCB and say they're nailed on to make the playoffs, because you can still see SRH, CSK making a big run through the second half of the league season. It's really interestingly poised.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not going to be one of those IPL where the top two teams probably end with 20 or 22 points. I think it's going to be really close. But I still believe that probably Mumbai and Delhi, I think they have enough arsenal that I would pencil them in for not top two maybe, but at least top four. I still believe that the spot number 3 and 4 are really open. So RCB has been in a good momentum and they have been winning the games quite convincingly. But I still believe that when that end stages comes and they fight with teams like SRH and CSK, who have been into the playoffs for the last few things, they know that idea of what to do when you have that 3 or 4 straight do or die games to win, right? So if I have to still give a choice that RCB of today with a great momentum against the CSK to probably have that win that last 3 and 4 games and probably make a dash into the playoffs, I would still go with someone like a SRH or a CSK. So as of now, it probably looks like that MIDC and RCB are at pretty top, but I still believe that the spot number 3 and 4 are pretty open. I still believe that MI and DC, with the form that they have, and especially the bowling combinations that they do have, they have that distinct advantage. But I still believe that's lost 3 and 4, and it's going to be a big dogfight between nearly everyone. The RR, KKR, SRH, CSK, and it's going to be nervy till, I think, the end of the group stages.
I love talking about the IPL because it's just a load of letters, isn't it? Everybody just all the letters that are involved in the team names. Moonrise is a sports engagement website to allow sports fans to learn from the very best. Get a personal video message recorded for a fan's special occasion. Have a professional cricketer as your next coach by getting video feedback or having a 30-minute conversation with some of the world's best players. Players such as Jimmy Neesham, Colin Munro, Tammy Beaumont, Danny Wyatt, Monty Panesar. Visit moonrisesports.com or go to Moonrise Sports on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. Moonrise Cricket, let's play. Let's have a look at the game today in terms of our Moonrise moments of the match. Plenty of sort of little discussion points that we can have around this as well. Abhishek, I'll start with you. What would you pick as being your Moonrise moments of today's match?
Well, I would certainly, it's difficult to make. I think David Warner's dismissal, team massively depends on him. And also the late dashes of Ravindra Jadeja and MSD. But I still believe that I would have to go for Ravindra Jadeja. I think his 20 runs in the end probably made that score just above par. And I think gave the confidence to the bowling to attack the duo of SRH opening pair of Bairstow and Warner. So I still believe that Jadeja sits at the end, probably push them just 10 or 12 runs more than the par 5. I still believe that Jadeja's batting performance is my moment of the day.
Daniel, your Moonrise moment of the match?
I'm going to disagree. I think Sam Curran should have got man of the match. I think his contribution up the top and his 3 overs, 1 for 18 with the wicket of Warner was a major reason they've won that game. I think he set the tone magnificently. He hit 21 off the 4th over, which went for 22, including that absolutely mammoth flat bat pull, which was a ridiculous shot. I think it was an 88-metre 6 off, it's a tennis shot for 6. So yeah, I think Sam Curran's over when he hit 21 is my moment of the match.
I'm going to throw in a few here. There was a 6 that Dhoni hit that must have been 100 metres. And it's the first time we've seen MSD really wind up and hit something right out the middle. And that was nice to see. So that's one nomination from me. I thought Shardul Thakur's 19th over Under a lot of pressure
Yeah.
with Rashid Khan at the crease. It was a very, very good display of death bowling. Dwayne Brado's 20th over. I know the pressure was off a little bit by then, but he nailed 6 Yorkers. Bang, 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 bang. Basically, the match had a full stop, and it was comfortable for CSK. There was also a moment in that 19th over where I think Paul Rifle, the umpire, was slightly intimidated. He was started to stretch his arms out for a wide. Shadul Thakur had missed the sideline, and it was definitely a wide. On the replays, it was well outside that little marker. Rifle was starting to spread his wings, and Dhoni and co glared at him, shrieked at him almost. It was CSK intimidation, and the wide was not given. And you never quite know. That one extra ball, that one extra run, it might just have tipped the balance a little bit. You don't know. So I thought that was a little bit naughty from CSK. But in terms of my adjudication today, I've been a little bit harsh on MSD. He's still a fine player, although his cloak of invincibility has dropped a little bit. That 6 from him today, I thought was just vintage MSD. And I'm going to give that the moment of the match, right at the middle of the bat, right into the top tier of the stands. MSD is the Moonrise moment of the match. Want to get your game the very best it can be? The future of coaching. Talk to a pro. 30-minute video conversation. Video analysis from players at the top of their game. Video shout-outs. Get a personalised message from a pro. Great for birthdays, congratulations messages, a prank, or a simple hello. Visit moonrisesports.com or go to Moonrise Sports on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. Moonrise Cricket. Let's play. Chaps, the reason you are on with me today is because we're looking ahead to Wednesday's game. And Daniel, your team, Delhi Capitals, you pulled them out the hat. You were our experiment of this podcast series. You had never been fully invested in the IPL, although you'd obviously given it a passing glance down the years. But your team, Delhi Capitals, you wanted to immerse yourself in supporting a side and to see it all the way through. They've given you plenty of reasons to believe, I think, over the first half of the league campaign. But their defeat against Mumbai was probably, I was going to say disappointing, but they're obviously playing Mumbai Indians and it was a tight game, but they would have liked to have won it, wouldn't they?
They would indeed. I hope it's not the start of a sign of things to come. You could say maybe you get the feeling that the tide has turned a little bit, that they were on such a roll, and I think that may have sort of been halted slightly. They lost the Mumbai game, like you said. Few injuries starting to pick up now. A little bit of uncertainty around how that affects their team and the balance and how they're going to go. I think they'll definitely have enough to make the playoffs. And when they get in the playoffs, obviously, then it's sort of anyone's game. But yeah, I actually think that the way that they beat Rajasthan the other night, was it 40, 46 runs? I think it was in the 40s. It was a big margin. I think it'll be a lot closer tomorrow, definitely. Massive game for the Royals, bigger game for the Royals. I think it's not a last chance saloon, but they definitely need to stay up with the other teams on 6. I think they need to start picking up to get themselves in that pack. But yeah, it should be a tantalising game, obviously with Ben Stokes to contend with as well, which we didn't have the other night. So yeah, we'll see how we go.
It's an interesting selection dilemma that Delhi have, isn't it? Because they've obviously brought Alex Carey in, the Australian, as cover for Rishabh Pant, who I understand is going to be out for about a week. And that obviously means that Shimron Hetmeyer's had to move to the dugout because they've allowed 4 overseas players. We talked prior to pressing record today about Sandeep Labashani, who is a very good spinner and doesn't ever seem to get his opportunities. That 4-man cap on overseas makes it a difficult choice going through the rest of this season. If spin does start to play a big part and they bring in Labashani, then did they even drop Anrik Nortje, who has been, I think, brilliant so far?
That would be a mega call at this point. Not saying it'd be the wrong one. It'd be the purest in me. We'd love to see Lamachin have a game. I think I love watching him bowl. It'd be great to see. I don't think they will go that way, like we discussed prior to the recording. I don't think they will. I think the 4 overseas are now pretty much set in stone for at least the next week until Pant comes back, like you said, but purely because they have to be. I think in terms of the balance of the team. It's the only way they can really go. I think I've just got a feeling tomorrow. I've got a feeling that Joss is going to have a day out. I think he's due one pretty soon. He hasn't really. He got a good 70, didn't he, early on in the tournament? But I think we just got a feeling James Buttler's going to have a day out tomorrow. And I think, I mean, I'm not as confident today as I was for the first game. Put it that way.
BodylineTshirts.com. Browse the finest collection of cricketing t-shirts on the web. Hundreds of original cricket designs for cricket players and fans alike, featuring everyone and everything from Larwood to Leach and Cow Corner to chin music at BodylineTshirts.com. And you can get 10% off your first order using the code BADGER at checkout. BodylineTshirts.com. T-shirts for the discerning cricket fan. Interesting tie-up this one, Abhishek. Rajasthan lead the head-to-heads between these two sides by 11 matches to 10. So there's been nothing in it historically. But the last 4 matches have been won by Delhi Capitals because Delhi have been a much better side over the last 2 seasons. And Rajasthan Royals, they've been a little bit hit and miss so far. It was an important win for them the other day, but you still want to see a few more hands going in the air from your side, don't you? There's been a few people contributing, but a lot of people staying quite quiet.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the Royals have been missing quite a spark. And I think when the tournament started, I believe that the 4 overseas contingent would be really setting the stage alight, and probably the only thing that could probably hamper them is that the Indian batsmen not doing the middle order not doing the work. But I think Tewatia and Ryan Park have been decent enough, and I think even Jofra Archer has been really good. But I still believe that Steven Smith and James Buttler need to find that consistency, right? Because they are so much vital to the RR batting lineup, as you could say probably Virat and ABR. So if Virat and AB doesn't fire, 90% of the times probably RCB will root, right? Until a miracle happens, right? So it's time that both of them start to fire in unison, and I think it's important that at least a minimum of 30-35 runs are being contributed by each of them, right? Because if that doesn't happen against a side like Delhi Capitals, I think it's very, very difficult. Delhi has a tremendous, I think, probably the best bowling attack in the tournament. And I believe if tomorrow the duo of Buttler and Smith doesn't fire, I do not expect Rahul Tewatia or Ryan Park to perform a miracle every time. So I think it's high time that the big team start to put their hands up.
Abhishek, you just took my next question out of my mouth there, because I was about to say to you, you can't expect Rahul Tewatia to do his heroics every single match. And you can't, can you? I mean, he's now the second highest scorer in this competition for RR. Nobody would have expected that to be the case after halfway through the league games. And it just highlights, doesn't it, really? I mean, Sanju Samson is the highest scorer, but he's been really quiet since his opening couple of matches, absolutely crying out for some more runs further down the order. And like you say, I mean, Smith's the captain. Smith needs to lead from the front in this respect. And he's been a little bit, sort of careless with his wicket, I guess, so far in this competition, hasn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I don't know what happened to Steve Smith after the first 2 games in Sharjah, because in the third match he's like trying to hit the ball to the premium pacers like Pattinson and others, Bumrah, in the first 2 to 3 balls. It's very uncharacteristic of him. Steve Smith is someone who takes his time, 5, 6 balls, 10 balls, and then he starts to anchor the innings. It's been very rash. He's just trying to hike the area around mid wicket or probably long one. I don't know what has gotten up to him, but I still believe that he should retain his number 3 spot. But nobody, I think, in that team can probably anchor the innings as Smith said. So if Smith probably gets out while playing a normal shot or just a very good ball, I think he's been getting out on ugly hikes. And I think that is something that you do not expect. I think Steve Smith is someone who needs to put his socks the most. And once he starts to contribute in his role, I believe RR will be showing the potential that they did. Like you said, Rahul Tewatia has been phenomenal in the 2 games, and also he has been doing a decent enough job in the games also, right? From his bowling, fielding, and other things. So it's not every day you can expect that somebody will come on and perform a miracle.
Yeah, absolutely. Finish with a question for you, Daniel, about the Delhi Capitals and about the main man, really. He's wearing the purple cap. He's been wearing it for a while. Kahisa Rabada has been exceptional in this competition. He's taken 17 wickets. He's going at an economy rate of just over 7, I think it is. He's taken a wicket every 9.76 deliveries in this competition so far. It's massively important, A, that they keep him fit, but B, that he continues his form, because if Delhi is going to get to the final, he's going to be massive, isn't he?
He is indeed. Yeah, he's been a joy to watch. And I've also noticed Rabada's been playing with a smile on his face, and you sometimes get the impression when you watch him certainly play for South Africa that he's quite a sort of a sullen character.
I would just interrupt there, Daniel. I think it's quite easy to play with a smile on your face if you're taking a wicket with every 9.76 deliveries.
Absolutely, yeah, there is that, of course. But he's clearly enjoying his game. We're all enjoying watching him bowl, and I think, like you said, if they've, in terms of their injury crisis, it could always be worse. It could have been Rabada. I think if they'd have lost Rabada, we could see, or if they do lose Rabada, we could see a slide down that table. But yeah, keep him fit, keep him on the park, and he'll blast us to victory more often than not.
Well, Delhi Capitals go into this game on 10 points, level top with Mumbai Indians and RCB. Rajasthan Royals, they're in that gaggle of teams on 6 points. They've played a game less than SRH and CSK, though, so if they did win tomorrow, they would leapfrog those two sides into 5th place. So a big game for them, a big game for Delhi Capitals to get their show back on the road. Thank you very much to you two for discussing it with me. Daniel Kelly, Abhishek Bohare, thank you for joining me.
Thank you. Cheers, James. Thanks.
Thank you, James. Thank you, Daniel.
And thank you for listening, everybody out there. It's the IPL Daily, so we'll be back again tomorrow. Thank you for our sponsors, Bodyline, TShirts.com and moonrisecricket.co.uk. I've been James. I'll see you tomorrow.
Thanks for listening. Join us every day throughout IPL 2020. Follow us on Twitter at cricket_badger. Join in the fun. We'll see you again tomorrow.
It's a great time to get a great deal on a new car when you get approved for an auto loan from PenFed. Our Powered by True car rates are as low as 1.39% APR on new vehicles. Finance for a longer term to lower your monthly bill, plus take up to 60 days to schedule your first payment. Join PenFed, and together we'll keep you moving forward. Anyone can apply. Visit penfed.org/auto or call 1-800-247-5626. To receive any advertised product, you must become a member of PenFed, insured by NCUA.